My hat!
In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why I decided to order the Mini Maxx. Now, some people might not like it, some people might not like Traxxas. The price is $250 as of now, pre-order. Pre-order it from your local shops. There's places online who are pre-ordering, I found out as well. But yes, you can get some other vehicles. For example, Arma many times has deals on the Sentence, and the Sentence could be less than $200 depending on which one you buy. I'm not saying the four-wheel drive, but two-wheel drives, you can get them for that much. But there are some other ones, for example, the Omni Terminator, under $200. You can find those. I forget what the regular price is, but the regular price, you can find them for less than the regular price left and right. So I don't even worry about it. Regular price is 200, over 200, I don't remember. So that's a complaint that a lot of people might have. But here are some of the reasons why. So when I looked at the arms look like they have a gull wing type design. And I could be wrong. But that's the impression that I got. And if that's the case, I'm hoping that's the case. I really like that design, and running gull wings in a short course truck is awesome. That's all I have to say. Now, the hexes, they do look a little wider. These look like the Slash two-wheel drive hexes, the front ones, just because of the width, which I found interesting. But that's not really why I'm interested in it. And I've already talked about the dimensions, and this is going to be something important. So for me, the dimensions were important. This vehicle, if we look at the dimensions, the width is about half of the length of a Slash. So we're looking at just under 10 inches, 253 millimeters, versus the Slash is 22.4 inches, 568 millimeters. So that means I can fit two of these trucks, right, front to back, in about the same length as a Slash. And then when it comes to width, the Slash is about 11.7, so 296. It's just 2 inches shorter than the Mini Maxx is long. So for about the same footprint of one Slash, I can carry two of the others. The other thing too is the Slash is 241 kilos, so 2 kilos 41, and it's 5 pounds 82. The Mini Maxx is over 2 pounds lighter at 3 pounds 62 and 1 kilo 64. So it's a much lighter vehicle. And the reason why I find that appealing is the following. So before I go into this here, this is the reason why. If we look at the exploded views and we look at the bearings are the same for the Mini Maxx as they are for the Slash 4x4. So Traxxas didn't take a vehicle and then turn it into a 1/16 scale and then make everything shorter, put bushings or, stuff that Traxxas does. No, yes, it is smaller. They did shrink it down, but they kept the drivetrain a 1/10 scale drivetrain for Traxxas. Now that's the key thing for Traxxas. Do not compare this to, say, Techno SCT 410. That thing is awesome. But if you look at the bearings, this is a 511-4, right? The outer bearing. I'm looking at the hub. And let's go ahead and go to the Slash four-wheel drive. Slash four-wheel drive. Oh, wouldn't you know? Same bearing, 511-4. What about the inner bearing? 1015-4. What do we have over here? Oh, 1015-4. If we look at the differential, we have the gear side is 816-5. Gear side is 816-5. What about the opposite? The opposite from the gear is 1015-4. 1015-4. So it's the same bearings, same size drivetrain. And now that I've mentioned the drivetrain, if you look at these shafts, the part number is 10750. These are not listed. I thought they were. Well, I'm not going to worry about these. It's really the drag slash, because the drag slash has nicer shafts. These are 9450. So they both end in 50. So why is this important? And this is the reason why. These are the Mini Maxx shafts right here. These are regular 10 scale, so these are your slash shafts. These appear to be that dark gray plastic that the drag slash uses, which is also what Traxxas uses for their heavy duty plastic drive shafts. 1/16 scale. Ha. But that's the reason why it's important. So notice a lot more material than the 1/16, definitely. But it's not just that. Since I told you the ending of the numbers, if these are the same as the drag slash shafts, just shorter, this is awesome, because when you take a shaft, something that's spinning, something that's rotating, something that's receiving a torque, if you keep the diameter the same, right, all the inner, outer diameters, and the material the same, but you make it shorter, you make it stronger. So a shorter shaft, all else being equal, is going to be stronger than a longer shaft, which is why I think these are going to be very good. Especially because there is more meat here on the U-joint. Usually on the heavy duty shafts there is, compared to the regular slash. The regular slash, man, these things are always popping out. You need to replace these. But that's something that caught my attention, and that's something that I'm interested in. So this one should have stronger shafts right off the bat, be able to handle power. And if we look at this and we just compare the differences between, for example, the bearing and the shaft, and this is the non-gear side of the bearing. Non-gear side of the bearing, remember, that's the 10-15-4. That's a good size bearing. It really is. Now compare the size of the shaft based on this image. Now if we look at the gears, these are 10 scale gears on a smaller vehicle. And the reason why I'm saying this is what it looks like. This is 10 scale, and this is, for example, what you would find on a slash or many vehicles, nitros as well. Now there are these little dimples here. You can pretty much ignore them. This is for the planetary system, because instead of using spider gears, it uses a planetary 1/16 scale. See, this is why. That's the reason why. Now, if we were to also talk about the spur gear, it's a 32 pitch, right? A mod 0.8, which is very, very good. They didn't go with the 48 pitch, which is what the slash two-wheel drive uses. Well, the two-wheel drive trucks use a 48 for the most part. I can't think of a single one. Traxxas doesn't use a 48 pitch. Four-wheel drives, they go with a 32 pitch, as they should. Mod ones, I don't really think it needs it. It would just be noisy. That's my opinion on this thing. Now, planetary gears. Well, planetary gears, this is how the differential looks compared to the spider gear system, which is... Oh, I have the same tab twice. This thing went... Hold on. Apologize about this. Front, rear, here we go. I thought I had this opened. Good job. Well, this one uses a spider gear system, and here we go. So this is what it looks like, right? This uses the planetary, which two-wheel drive slash, you're going to look at a planetary system right here. But for this one, I think it's going to work quite well. Planetary gears, they're pretty strong, and the way the case is designed, I think it's going to be pretty effective. Now servo, probably going to replace that. We'll see how it lasts on the larger vehicles, especially the nitros. I'm not sure what goes on with Traxxas servos, but they don't tend to last very long. But now, another thing too is, let's go into the rear view. Notice the part number for the shocks, so 3760. 3760. All right, rears 3760. So this one has the same shocks all around. All four shocks are the exact same. If we look at the slash, well, let's look at the other view. Well, right here, if we look at just the body says 3766. Let's look at just the body for the Mini. 37. Let's see, these are the rears. Sorry, let's go to the fronts. Fronts. Here we go. So the slash four-wheel drive front shocks are 3765. 3765. Yes, they both have an A. So it's the same bodies. If we look at the shaft, 1664. 1664. It's the same thing. Now the caps are different. These caps are a little rounded. They don't have as much material as these caps. These caps, if you look them up, it's the cap that you would find on the Fortec. It just has extra material here. But if you look at the bottom links are the same. So it's the same part number as the bottom links. So these shocks on this Mini, again, a smaller, lighter vehicle, it's the same shocks that Traxxas puts on the slash 110. Now, really quick, if you say, yeah, but those are garbage for the 110, I will agree with you completely because I always replace them. One of the things that will happen is you'll pop the top caps, and if you replace them with the aluminum ones, you'll start bending shafts. So you might as well get the GTRs. Now the GTRs, the aluminum GTRs for the slash are about $36 a pair. They're different front and rear, right? You get the extra longs for the rear, but that's about $72 for all four, and then you need springs, about $5 a pair of springs, so you're looking at $82. For this one, it comes with springs, the aluminum Traxxas shocks, and they are about $90. So it's 10% more. So that's why some people might say, whoa, those shocks are really, really expensive. The aftermarket might have something, and I mean, it's the same as the front slash shocks. It's really just the spring. So, you know, a little tuning, and there's going to be some less expensive options out there. ST Racing probably has some. I haven't checked. But that's the other thing that's pretty neat too. So again, the drivetrain is really what Traxxas considers a 110 scale drivetrain, but it's on this, I'm going to call it a 116 scale just because it's small. It's similar to Traxxas 116 scales, like the little tiny Summit. So they didn't shrink those. They just turned, say, a poodle into a bulldog as far as dimensions and mass. They can, bulldogs can get pretty heavy, but they're small and compact. That's what happened. So this is like a Traxxas Bulldog. They could have named it the Bulldog too. Actually, I would have preferred that name, to be honest, now that I think about it. Now, I do have one worry, and I am going to share that worry, and that worry is the front bulkhead. So the front bulkhead, if we were to compare these, the slash four-wheel drive always has this aluminum tie, which is great. This one doesn't. This one is probably plastic because it appears to be the same part as the rest of it. And the reason why this worries me is on a hard impact to the arm or even the wheel, this bumper isn't going to protect anything, but that's going to torque the arm and might break this plastic off, assuming this is plastic. And based on pictures, I think it is plastic, but I could be wrong. See, that would be this part right in here. And that would be my worry. And the reason why I say it's my worry is because on the Techno, and if you've watched some of my older videos, you know I really like the Techno SCT 410.2. And they have a new one now. They just closed up the gears, which they should have done from the beginning. But those plastic bulkheads on the Techno's a high quality vehicle. Those things snap left and right. You really need to get the aluminum for the Technos. And I'm worried that might be a problem with this vehicle as well. So that is something that I want to find out. I'll see if that's an issue or not. Hopefully not. But the arms do look reinforced. They look large. They look almost as large as some of you might remember the ProTrack kit that Proline used to make. It has a similar design, in my opinion. So that's why I'm looking forward. So why did I pre-order this? Because the shocks are the same as the four-wheel drive slash, the fronts, right? I mean, these front and rears on the Mini are the same as the fronts in the slash. The drivetrain components, differential, etc., those are coming off of 10-scale models, right? They didn't make them smaller as well. Those stayed the same size. They shrunk everything else except for that. The shafts appear to be the same as a drag slash, just shortened. And all of that is awesome. And if I'm lucky, and I think I am going to be lucky, I might be able to easily convert this to 17 millimeters. And instead of going with these 4-inch tires, I might be able to go with the 5-inch Proline trenchers low profile. I really like trenchers. Proline trenchers are probably one of my favorite tires. If you want just like all-terrain, do it all. I'm not saying they're the best for everything, but you're running on grass, loose dirt, etc. Trenchers do a very good job. The bearings are the same size. So these are some of the reasons why I decided to pre-order. Again, there are some less expensive models out there that you can consider. This is just me. You don't have to order one. But these are some of the features that caught my attention. That being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll catch you in the next one.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!